For a lot of people, Ireland still amounts to U2, Sinead O'Connor.
Hothouse Flowers.
Something Happens.
The Experiment, the Baby Snakes.
A House.
Cactus World News. And now the Cranberries.
Therapy.
There's bands like Ash.
Mexican Pets.
Pet Lamb.
Female Hercules.
Pincher Martin.
Wormhole and Joyrider.
Sunbearer.
And Luggage.
And I think something's going to happen. I feel really optimistic about it. I think there is going to be like a really big, strong scene.
Dublin was a very, very fashionable music centre for about 2 years. A&R men liked the idea of hopping on a plane, coming to Dublin, getting pissed for a weekend, signing the first sort of sub-U2 pub rock anthemic paisley-shirted bands they could find.
We're like a post-U2 generation. All the Dublin bands were bought up in the 80s, signed, milked and dumped by the companies. I think the 90s bands or the late 80s bands are a little bit more cynical.
The proliferation of labels in Dublin in particular is partly to do with the new breed of attitude. The fact that you can do things on your own terms.
There's a number of indie labels on the go. There's like 3 or 4.
More than that.
Far more than that, is there?
Yeah, there's just loads of people putting records out. You know, you don't really care so much about being part of an industry, but just purely for the love of putting out records or whatever, and just a scene going like there hasn't been for quite a while.
There's probably more people in bands than actually people going to see them.
I don't remember so many independent releases coming out in any other year for the last 10 years.
You know, for kids. It took a bunch of people from outside to really get things going, like the people who started Dead Elvis. That's what really kind of kick-started this current thing anyway, as far as I can see. And they all came from Dundalk or somewhere. Yeah, and nobody knew them, and then they just came down and were bringing out records, you know? Yeah, and they just did their own thing.
My brother was working at a computer company and he had a bit of money put aside, and we kind of wanted to do it beforehand. It was SAC, before they had any record deal or they put out any records whatsoever. We wanted to put out a 7-inch single by them, just out of sheer, we thought they were great and didn't understand why no one else thought they were great, so we wanted to put out a single, and that never happened. And then I was running a club and I saw Wormhole and I thought they were amazing. Started off, we were going to do a single, and then we ended up doing an album. You start to cop on about how an independent label works, and you know, you start in your head romanticize these labels. Like, say, you look at the back of every single Black Flag album and the back of all the early Husker Du albums, and they're all recorded in this place called Total Access, this studio. So you just work out that they're using some really dire, cheap studio and doing things really quick. Sure, like Consul from Female Hercules or Pat from Mexican Pets. I'm sure if you went to their houses, they're obsessive. I bet you they all have a row of records halfway down their bedroom, you know, and I bet you they're all from independent labels in the States. So they can see how those bands work, and they probably know little things like that Husker Du and bands like that. When they released their first record, they were only selling 500 copies as well, you know. So they have an awareness of the history of independent music, and they can see how people did things right, how people did things wrong. we sorted out independent distribution in England for ourselves, and we're very seriously looking for distribution around Europe, because we get, like, somehow people in Europe have got the CDs we put out, have written to us, have played them on the radio, but we don't have the records there. So if we can work out a way, you know, to have a record out in France or Sweden or somewhere like that, maybe we can sell another 50 or 60 copies in each of those places. And just, again, it just makes it easier. It gives you the feeling you're getting somewhere, you know.
The reason we put out a record is because everyone else was. We just thought, they can do it, so can we, you know. People have seen since we put one out, you know, we can do it.
I need your love, I need your touch, oh, I need you oh so much.
It's sort of a case of having too big a record collection and not enough talent, and we're like really knowledgeable and sort of anal almost about like silly old records and all, and people sort of appreciate that to a certain extent. And like, we're all at the stage now where we've got other things on the go, and we're not trying to make a career out of this, so like people sort of like that about us.
Please don't give up on me, I need you to set me free, don't you give up on me.
And we're sort of like the band's band, you know, no one actually likes us apart from other bands. You know, like the kids don't really get what we're after.
We can get 1,000 albums manufactured for like £300 on CD. When we were planning to start off, I investigated how much vinyl cost, and to put out one 7-inch single or 2 songs would cost half the amount that it cost to put out a full-length album. And if you really want to use a CD to its full capabilities, you can put nearly 80 minutes of music on it.
I need someone to teach me to love, I'm out of practice, I'm out of touch. I need your love, I need your touch, oh, I need you so much.
We're doing a single for Pinch and Martin, and a few other things lined up as well. So ideally I'd like to just do records where the bigger the scene gets and the more sort of money that gets involved in the scene. I'd like to see Hightown just becoming a label doing stuff where people wouldn't get signed by other people, the more sort of left field stuff and less commercial stuff. That's what I'd like to do. I liked it so much, I bought the company.
I'd say, don't start a label to start a label. Start a label because you love the bands. Don't put out bands that you think are just going to be profitable. Put out bands that you think are important. And don't expect to make any fucking money.
At the moment, most people are primarily doing it kind of, well, out of love first, and then kind of hoping to make a bit of money out of it then as well.
It's a lot of other things where it's not making a fortune, or even making a decent weekly wage, or even making 50 quid a week, or a tenner a week, or whatever, you know. It's for something other than that.